team lead in passer rating or rushing yards, receiving yards, tackles, or interceptions. That includes Pittsburgh, whose rookie linebacker Devin Bush not only leads the Steelers with 29 tackles, he leads the league with 3 fumble recoveries in 12 of 48 games. I'll get to that stat later, but essentially there is a youth movement happening right now in the NFL. And I'm wondering, is their play really indicative of good play? Or, like I said before, if everybody's good, then everybody really stinks.
I would throw 2 things in there. First of all, I think offenses have changed. I think we're seeing an even bigger step towards this passing league, where there's a lot of, you watch a lot of games, there's a lot of dump-offs and short crossing patterns, slants, this sort of offense. You're seeing a lot of that. The RPO game, the play action has taken another huge step forward this year. So you're seeing a lot of passing, which probably we didn't see 15, 20 years ago. I think that's part of it. And I think the other part of it, Jay, is probably more salary cap related, where this idea of getting a young quarterback and starting him as early as you can, really, and giving them those few years where you have a lower cap number on your quarterback so you can strengthen the rest of your team seems to be a popular trend. And I think that was also, is very much why you're seeing these dare I say, college-style offenses coming more and more into the league, where you're seeing this short passing game. And that's easier, of course, for a young quarterback to do when he can just dump the ball off mostly, and that's an easier game for any young guy to play. So I think those 2 things for me play a big part into this. Is it good, Jay? Is it bad? Well, I think it is what it is. It's how the game is played now, and we've got to see who from that group of quarterbacks plays that style of football the best. And currently, we're seeing Patrick Mahomes leading that charge slightly ahead of probably Deshaun Watson.
Neil, I'm going to piggyback on that part as far as the salary cap playing a good part in what we're seeing right now, because like you said, teams are going after hot young quarterbacks that they can start as soon as possible because they have such high-priced talent elsewhere on the roster, whether it's on offense, defense, or both, and they're capitalizing on the youth and the contract of that quarterback that they most likely drafted in the first round before they get paid. Once they get paid, they have to rebuild through the draft, and now you're looking for can't-miss prospects on both sides of the ball at the skill positions. Look at the Saints as far as what they were able to do on offense between Kamara and their wide receiver. The Steelers on defense, who even though we rag on them so much about how bad they're playing as a team, Devin Bush, who Paul just mentioned earlier, pretty much looks like a can't-miss right now the way he's playing linebacker out there in Pittsburgh. So it's a cyclical thing. It's like get this hot young kid early, capitalize on the talent we currently have, and then when we build around him, let's find this top talent coming out of the draft to surround him with that we don't have to pay. And, if they do hit a status to where we have to pay them, just let them go and then restock. I mean, we're seeing that right now with pretty much almost every running back in the league not named Elliott and Gurley.
Mm-hmm. In 12 of 48 games, that's 25%, gentlemen. A team has come back to tie or win after trailing in the fourth quarter so far this season, which makes picking the games that much more difficult. Oh, did you see what I did there? A nice transition. Time for the Pigskin Pick'em. Just a reminder, the Jets and the 49ers are on a bye week. The Jets are one of the defeateds. The 49ers are undefeated. Pigskin Pick'em, I had 10 right last week, so that was pretty good. That was straight up, though, only 8 versus the spread. 8 people had 11 correct in our Pigskin Pick'em group on ESPN.com. Hooded Claw remains in first place. He was one of the 11, but I haven't heard from him or her. So the invitation to join us on the podcast is gone, and it now gets extended to the next person on our list, and that would be K-Boogie2. So K-Boogie2, you have won the right to join us here on the podcast. If you'd like to do so, please reach out to us at nextfanup@gmail.com, and we will make arrangements for you to join us on the show. The Power Rankings went 10-6 last week as well. And as always, we begin with the Thursday night football game, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have moved up to 5 in the power rankings. The Eagles have fallen to 12. The Packers are favored by 4 in this particular game. Eagles banged up, though, and I'm sure James will tell us all about it. They are 4-0 on Thursdays under Doug Peterson. Packers D is allowing only 11.7 points per game. They have a +6 takeaway giveaway. I'm going to take the Packers, but I also haven't gotten a Thursday game right at all this season. The power rankings are going with the Packers. The one person going with the Eagles is Neil.
Yeah, I think the Packers are overrated. I think if you look at their stats, their offense is it's right down near the bottom of the league. I'm looking at the ESPN offensive stats. Don't really like it at all. You've got them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bottom in the league. That makes them about 27th in the league offensively. I think I think they've been lucky in their first few games, Jay. I think they've sneaked out wins in all those games, and I think they'll come up against the Philadelphia Eagles team who, and Jay, wait for it, I think the Eagles want it more. I think they need it more, and I think they are a champion team. There's guys there who have won Super Bowl before. I think Jeffrey's going to be back tonight, and I think the Eagles will go in there and win this game. I know that Green Bay's defense is right up there in terms of statistically. You know, you're looking at a defense that's around about 12th, 13th in this league. I think it's a little bit overrated, and I think they get found out tonight.
Well, Green Bay Brian mentions in his defense, he's been really excited and says Brian Gutekunst deserves a freaking medal. Zadarius Smith leads the league in pressures. Preston Smith is top 3 in sacks. Adrian Amos has been, as advertised, reliable, if not always impactful. Layer in our 2 first-round picks, Rashawn Gary, who had a sack and fumble recovery last week, and Darnell Savage, who had a shoestring interception of his own. And you can begin to see why we've been so strong. And for what it's worth, Jair Alexander is PFF's #1 rated cornerback through 3 weeks. Already a great player. Every pass his way is contested, and he brings an edge to the defense as a whole. So, James, how will your banged-up receiving core match up with that defense?
I honestly have no idea. Jeffrey is available to play tonight, but between Arcega-Whiteside and Mac Hollins, they need to stop committing offensive pass interference, because that was their pretty much MO on Sunday against the Lions, not to mention the 7 drop passes by the entire receiving core, everybody not named Zach Ertz. I imagine the Packers probably employ some type of defense to do what Detroit did, which is take away Ertz and make Wentz throw elsewhere. And this is a problem I've been having for Carson for the last 2 seasons. Stop being tunnel vision on Ertz. Throw to other people, make defenses play honest, and then you can hit Ertz later. But he refuses to do that. Honestly, if they keep turning the ball over the way they are, I don't see how they win this game tonight. The defense has not been playing well because we haven't gotten pressure without a blitz. And while Aaron Rodgers doesn't look right in the Packers offense, their running game has pretty much been the best that it's been since he's taken over the helm there in Green Bay. So you're talking about a big if we make them one-dimensional, we should have a shot. But considering we have, 2 sacks on the year by the entire team and none of them by defensive linemen, I don't know.
The 24th against the run.
I'm sorry, Neil. Let me jump in real quick and just troll James a little more. Was it fair for the Philadelphia hero to call out Aguilar? I mean, I would think Nelson would be catch a baby better than a football.
Yes, it was fair to call him out. You do understand that under the previous head coach, whose name I shall never mention, he dropped everything under the sun. When Peterson came in and took over, Aguilar was almost cut that first season that Peterson was head coach. Because, the previous regime wanted him to be an outside wide receiver where he couldn't flourish, and they found a spot for him in the slot. he's excelled in the slot, but he's not been consistent in the slot. I mean, the Super Bowl year is pretty much his best season by far, and he hasn't come close to that in the year and 3 games since. So, yeah, he's got a problem catching the ball, and sometimes when he does catch it, he doesn't look it in all the way, a la the fumble he had on Sunday where he tucked it before – he ran before he tucked it, basically, and it was a fumble. So, no, yeah, it is absolutely fair for Aguilar to be called out. The fact that sometimes he catches up some of the balls he does catch is jaw-droppingly amazing. But simple things like the wide-open pass he had against Atlanta 2 weeks ago that could have won us the game or at least given us the lead, you can't drop passes like that. You just can't. You won't be around in this league for longer. And quiet as it's kept, I do highly believe that when this current contract of his runs out, he will be gone.
Neil, it's your turn to troll James. Go right ahead.
No, I'm going to support James. The one weakness I see, especially in that Green Bay defense, is the run defense. Can you guys make that a priority tonight and run the ball well against the Packers?
That's a good question because Doug Peterson keeps saying he wants to commit to the run, but it doesn't look like it through his play calling, and then the back rotation makes no sense. I get that Miles Sanders was the young, hot running back you wanted or coveted in the draft, but this kid can't hold onto the ball right now, and he's not used to the speed of the NFL game because he's not getting through the line the way he should. The offensive line hasn't been blocking the way it should be, but when the holes are there, Miles Sanders is missing them. I highly believe that we should be starting and pounding defenses with Jordan Howard, sprinkle in Miles Sanders so he gets a little taste and understands what's going on so he can watch and observe because he doesn't have it yet. Thrusting him in there early like this and making him the lead back ahead of Howard makes no sense because why did we give up draft picks to acquire Howard in the first place if we're not going to use him?
All
right, well, that sounds like a lot of talk for a team that's going to lose another game. So
quick injury hits here. Montavious Adams and Oren Burks of the Packers are going to be out. Zadarius Smith, who you did mention, is listed as questionable with a sore knee. They put guard Lane Taylor on injured reserve on the 23rd. For the Eagles, we will be without Jernigan, Darby, and Jackson. They're all out. Corey Clement is questionable, and as mentioned earlier, Jeffrey is scheduled to play.
Well, like I said, I've gotten every Thursday game wrong, so it's probably going to be the Eagles with the victory. But I'm going with the Packers at home, and I hope I'm right. But who knows? These Thursday games are not going anywhere near the way that I thought they would. And away teams are winning the short week. What's going on with that? That's not supposed to happen.
No
1:00 games, and we kick off with the Tennessee Titans at the Atlanta Falcons. The Titans fall to 21 in our power rankings. The Falcons fall to 18. Despite a bad loss to Jacksonville last week, it was a Thursday game, so the Titans come in with a little extra rest, a +4 takeaway giveaway differential. Something's off with the Falcons, and despite them playing better at home, James will tell you that all the time, they just lost Keanu Neal again, and I like the Titans D to bring home an upset special. Neal is in agreement with me, but James, you're going with the Falcons play better at home.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my only rationale here. Tennessee didn't look right in that Thursday night game against Jacksonville. And granted, they were on the road in Jacksonville, but still, they just didn't look right. I don't know how long you can stay with Mariota. He hasn't looked right since that week 1 game against Cleveland. Quick injury hits the Titans. Delaney Walker showing up questionable with a knee injury, along with linebackers Darren Bates and Rashaan Evans. For the Falcons, you already mentioned Neal on injured reserve. Ito Smith is in a concussion protocol. Zach McKinley is questionable with a knee. Grady Jarrett is questionable with a toe. Calvin Ridley was limited in practice with a hip injury. And Devondre Campbell, linebacker, has a rib injury that's limited him in practice.
MJ writes us, he is our Falcons super fan. Keys to the game, the offensive line has got to provide a secure pocket for Ryan so that Ryan can look at the defense, recognize what they're giving him, and spread the ball around. On the defensive side of the ball, Edge rushers have got to get pressure on Mariota, make him as uncomfortable as possible in the pocket. Secondary has got to keep everything they can in front of them and limit the yardage with the ball in the air. The spread on this is 4